Hey guys, how's it going? It's Deli Brew here, back with another TFT video. Feeling a lot better since my last one. There's another post-game commentary, back to set 3.5 this time. For one of my last Galaxies games, this is a ranked game. I was trying to finally push my way into Diamond and promote from Plat, and so I was like, well, before I get too addicted to Fates, I best go back and do a little bit more of Galaxies, and I'm thinking of maybe uploading some videos of what I'd like to call the classics, what the main comps that are being run at the moment are. That was kind of like an idea that I had. I don't know if I'm going to do it yet or not. I don't know how much more Galaxies I'm going to be playing, but I would quite like to do that. I really enjoyed the set a lot. There are a lot of carries that I really like. There's a lot of different units that I really like, a lot of different traits that I really like. Like, everything is fun to play for me. I enjoy, like, nearly every comp. So, as you can see from the thumbnail, this is a Syndra carry game. I copped an early Rakan out of my loot orb. So this is the Big Bang Galaxy, which is the Grand Slam. It's kind of like the grand finale to this entire set that they've done. It's treasure trove, so all minions drop a loot orb. What's the other one? You get Trade Sector, free rerolls, and you get a Force of Nature at the start of round 3. So it's a lot of different galaxies kind of packed into one. Pretty cool stuff. I haven't actually played on it that much because around about the time that they brought it out was when Fates came out on the PvE. So I didn't actually get to play it that much. So this is one of my first times actually doing the game with it. Excuse me. So I copped an early Rakan from my loot orb, which sort of... I kind of wanted to go Star Guardians this game anyway, and getting early Protectors is a good sign that you can do that. Star Guardians and Sorcerers always really struggle early on just on their own. They're not that strong early. They become insane late game, but early game they're really not a force to be reckoned with, unfortunately. So the way that you kind of get around this is by going Protectors, and you can transition into either 4 Protectors if you like get a load of Protectors. You'll see I end up getting a load of Jarvans here. This is a game, I have to preface this, I played this game far from perfectly. I misplay this game so much. There's a lot of mistakes that I make, but it's no biggie. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. So, I'll copy some more Jarvans. I end up getting loads of them in the shop. I'm thinking about what I want to run for my backline, because I have a decent front line. I decided against the Shen. This is one of the first interesting plays that I make that I don't really agree with. I think that Chrono, the early TF and Caitlyn with like a decent front line is like just a decent early game comp. This is where I kind of lock myself into Star Guardians. I make the Hex Tech. Big mistake, I think, putting it on the Caitlyn. I don't really know why I did that. She's not really the best carrier for a Hex Tech. I think that TF would have been better. Rakan's not bad either, but I plan on keeping the Rakan quite long into the comp, so I didn't want to lock my Hex Tech onto him and then not be able to get it off, so I needed to put it on a unit that I knew I was going to sell, and I just thought, ah, well, Caitlyn will do. And then I immediately realized the error of my ways when that Rebel player absolutely tears me up. To be fair, I don't really think I had much of a shot against him anyway. He had a really strong opener, level 2 Nocturne, level 2 Ziggs, and he also had a Yi really early on, so I didn't really have much of a chance. So I cop the Xin Zhao here and go for Celestial Protector, just because I feel like it's a little bit more strong. I put the Hex Tech on my Poppy because I know that she's not going to be kept around much longer in the comp. I switch over to this guy and see that he's also running Star Guardians. I think, oh man, it's going to suck if everyone in this lobby runs Star Guardians, because when this comp gets contested, it is a pain in the ass. And then surely enough, I end up fighting him here. He's still on level 3. He's thinking about going some other stuff. He's got Darius and Graves on the bench. And then luckily, my Protector front line is more than tanky enough to deal with them and dispatch them. No problems. Sorry. Taking a sip there. So, having a quick look, we got Rebels. This is the Rebel guy I lost to. This guy going Brawler Battlecast. Let's just double checking that I lost to the guy who was Mr. 100 to try and make me feel a little bit better about losing the first round. So again, I'm not really sure what I want to do here. I'm thinking about going up to 5, but then I see that I can get my Zoe and another Rakan and another Jarvan for 2-star. And I thought, well, a Jarvan for 2-star wouldn't go amiss, especially if I can get him to 3 stars eventually. There is a variant of this comp, which I will spoil for you now. I don't end up going. There's a variant in which you run the classic 4 protectors, the Jarvan, Nico, and then the 2 Celestial boys, Rakan and Xin Zhao, and you keep that late into the game. I end up switching. I try to go for a bit more of a classic comp. It's a bit more higher rolly. Well, not higher rolly. It's you need more money to make the one that I go for work, and you'll see that that probably wasn't the best idea. I didn't exactly like hit off the start of this game with an insane streak. I'm almost certain I lose this one as well. I think that even if I'd like had some really decent units, I think I probably would have still lost this one. The Xayah Blades comp early kind of just mows through my guys, and most of them aren't 2-star, so not really a big deal. I take the L there. Gets me a little bit earlier on the carousel, and surely enough, it is a full item one. I see the GA swing my way. The rest of these items I'm not really interested in. Trapclaw and Shojin were definitely possibilities, and Ionic Spark was okay, but I know that when I get my Nico around, Guardian Angel is a really good item on her, and so I figure, well, it's close to me. I won't have to worry. See, the other guy, the guy who was opposite me, ended up picking the Shojin anyway, so if I had gone for the big marathon lap around to the other side of the carousel, odds are he would have picked it up anyway, and then I might have not got what I wanted. Zephyr is also always good. So that wouldn't have been a bad option if I didn't get what I wanted. But luckily I was one of the first picks, so I cop a GA there. And everything's going pretty well. Like, it's not great. It's not great, but it's not bad, you know. I get myself over the threshold here into a good amount of econ. I'm debating what I'm going to do. I'm supposed to... excuse me. I decided to level up my my comp to get in Nautilus here. So actually I end up not hitting the econ threshold at all. I don't really know why I bought... Oh yeah, and then I was angry that I saw a Fizz that early, because I'd already decided I was going Star Guardians. I decided a little bit too early, honestly. Especially seeing as I got a Rumble off the carousel. I got a Fizz pretty much as early as you could get a Fizz. You know, 2-5 is insane, and I think, well, I don't really have an insane team at the moment. Getting a Fizz might not be a bad idea. And maybe mech is still a possibility. It was my thought process at the time. You know, I would have been one Annie away from getting an extremely early mech online. But it's no bother. I decided to opt for my Eagle comp, which I much prefer. I must say, I do love mech. I think mech is probably... Mech is my favorite comp of set 3 and 3.5 combined. It's like, it's been really interesting to play the entire time. I know a lot of people have complained about it being busted and stuff, and there were definitely times where it was a bit overtuned, but I really think that the devs have done a good job in overtuning it. So hopefully I can do a mech video soon as well, because it really is one of my favorite comps. This is a great shot for me. I end up with my Nico and a Rakan 2-star. I decide that Xin is going to go, because I don't have him 2-starred, and that he might be the reason why I'm losing, but then I completely forget that he is in fact a protector, which is definitely not one of my finer moments, and I lose my 4 protector passive, which was a bit silly. I ended up selling my Fizz as well, because I realized that it's coming up to 2-6. I would ideally like to go up to level 6 on 3-1, but I hadn't even hit the 10 gold econ breakpoint, so I figure sacrifices had to be made. I was definitely not planning to 3-star the Poppy anyway. Don't really know why I bought an additional one in the first place. So I get rid of her. And then, unfortunately, this guy's 4 protectors and Celestial are going to mow me down a little bit. But at least I'm back up on my econ breakpoint. Again, not really a great start in this game. Like I say, this really is far from a perfect game, but it's always good to watch these and kind of look for various mistakes and things like that, because it'll help you improve. So, once again, I grab a Xin, because I figure, well, 4 protector is pretty good, and getting a 3-star Rakan could be pretty decent, so I go ahead and pick another one up, seeing as I'm rolling quite a few of them. Usually I never get any. I sell my Poppy. I decide that it's high time that she gets out of here. I don't really need her anymore. Going for 4 protector 2 celestial I think is better than just having her in for the 3-star guardian passive. I feel that 4 protector is a little bit better early. Again, Star Guardian is something that really pops off late. Oh yeah, this is a pretty insane moment. So I get a spatula and I'm thinking, oh, I could go Star Guardian spat on Victor maybe, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'm doing a Victor carry this game instead, but hold the phone. Hold the phone rather. I literally get one straight out of this round, and then another one immediately after, so I'm kind of pogging at this point. This is a really kind of wild moment, getting literally 2 champions spaces added. It's pretty good. Really good stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for what I want to do. I pick up TF because I'm thinking of units to put in. I see another fucking Fizz after I sold my other one. I'm like, well, I guess this is it then. He's a decent unit, especially again to have kind of this early. Even though he doesn't really fit into my comp as such, I know that he's going to be kind of useful because he'll be able to jump on the enemy backlines and maybe kind of take out a few more of the enemy backline before I get wrecked in the face, because I'm definitely not winning many games at this point. So this is the guy who is streaking with the current Mr. 100. His Rebel build has only grown stronger. He's committed to the Rebel spatula on his Shen. And as a result, he's kind of bonkers at this point. There's not really much that could be done. I would have had to match him on some equally insane stuff. He's got Rebels everywhere, and I figure, well, that's it. But the one thing I do note here is that his Yi items are not great, honestly. Quicksilver Bloodthirster. Quicksilver used to be obviously a staple for Yi. I guess it's fine, but BT isn't really used on him. So, you know, in order to run Yi, most of the time nowadays, it's RFC is a must. You kind of need the bow opener to guarantee that your Yi is going to be able to do anything, deal any damage from afar. But if you get him 3-starred with that RFC and Runans and that whole shtick, then he really is a force to be reckoned with. I really do like that comp as well. Again, like I say, all the top comps I really enjoy running. So I'm fighting Mr. Star Guardians again. He's got a mini Space Pirate kind of core going on as well, with Shojin's Darius, but unfortunately for him, he puts his Quicksilver on a little bit too late, and the rest of my team is able to mow through him pretty well. My dream for this player is for him to go out as soon as possible so that he can relinquish his precious Star Guardians to me and I can round out my comp. So again, I'm really behind at this point, but I'm not getting absolutely demolished. I'm not winning by a long shot, but I'm not getting absolutely decimated. One Jarvan off getting the Jarvan 4-3 or Jarvan 3. I don't really know which one to say, but that's fine. I figure, well, even if I sell them, it's not really going to be that beneficial for me unless I win this round. And then even if I do, what if I do hit the Jarvan 3 and it's worth it? I decide to reorder my comp a little bit and kind of cluster up in the corner. Ends up being a big mistake because there's a Blitzcrank and he grabs my Zoe. I can't really remember how this match plays out. I guess we'll see. Probably not massively in my favor. Fizz does get a pretty swag ulti off. The swag Fizz ult. How long will it be before I put these dumb slogans on a shirt? Who knows? And it ends up actually winning me the match there. So, you know, pretty decent stuff. Not that bad at all. So we're coming out to the next carousel. I'm still a pretty early pick, which is good. The main things I'm looking for are major items. So I want rods, I want tears for blue buff, I want rods for Rabadons, and hex. Well, I already have my hex tech, so I need a good fair few rods for Rabadons. But instead, I decided to get my blue buff guaranteed, rather than getting half of a Rabadons that may never appear. And ends up working out pretty well. I get my blue buff straight away, which is very handy. Very good item on Syndra with her 50-60 mana cost. Funny thing about Syndra is, like, she's had a long history, on this champion. She here I grab her in the shop, losing my Xin Zhao once again. But don't worry, he's not gone for long if I recall correctly. Go ahead and make my blue buff and hex tech on her. Let's double check. I'm almost certain Xin Zhao shows up in my reroll. He doesn't. I think he comes back soon. Oh, I reroll again. Weird. And then I decide to level. Because that's fair enough. But yes, long history. Very long history with Syndra. Obviously in the Seraph's days, there was a time where she was undisputedly the best carry in the game. Absolutely insane champion. Now I think she's good. I think she's back in a good spot. Blue buff wasn't great on her. They lowered her mana cost a little bit, so it made it a bit better. You can see here with Hex Tech, man, the Hex Tech change with the shields, I love it. I think I still lose this one. This is against the Yi guy, but it's a lot closer. Oh, it's not against the Yi guy. It's another Blades player. He's got a really early 3-star Shen. I'm quite happy to lose that because it's a lot closer. But it's not really that big of a deal. Syndra really put the work in and made me sustain as minimal of an L as possible. So I get pretty lucky with it. Get a really early Soraka. I don't end up putting her in, but like just finding one this early is really nice. There's nothing worse than like getting to the point where you should have your 6 Star Guardians or however many Star Guardians you want to be running, and there's just like that one 4-cost or 5-cost unit that you just can't roll, and you roll every other 4-cost or 5-cost. Generally speaking, I'd advise against like picking these units up early. If they hurt your econ, there's no point in sitting on them. You should just try and econ and then roll for them later, because your chances are going to be higher. But I kind of had a good feeling now that I had my 4 prot and Star Guardians online with Syndra getting ramped up in power. So I kind of knew that I was going to be able to win this one, or that I had a good chance. And if I was going to fail, a Jarvan 4 wouldn't have been that bad of a sacrifice. Just taking a drink there. So let's see what happens. So yeah, I get my Nico 2-star as well, that's something I forgot to say, which is really good. The free rerolls really help with comps like this. So then I check this guy out and see that he is going for a 6 Sorcerer Star Guardian comp. The comp that I'm going for doesn't go for the 6, it just goes for the 4. I think he swapped something out there and he actually only ends up with 4 as well. But having another Star Guardian player in is always a bit tricky, because it means that you're so much less likely to find your units. It kind of comes down to who can get the core units first. So I get a bunch of rods, and I'm honestly, like, I was pretty ecstatic. You can see I did my little dance there. I was like, well, that is a Rabadons. So these are the perfect, in my opinion, Syndra items. Very, very good. You could make an argument for Jeweled Gauntlet, I suppose. Would also be pretty good. I guess any item that just buffs her spell damage. Pretty decent. And I got a belt left over. I'm looking to make my Warmogs on my Nico. I think that Warmogs is a really, really important item on Nico. A lot of guides that I see for these comps actually just recommend that you get like GA and Ionic. But I honestly think that Warmogs is really, really important. It just buffs up the shield so much more. She ults like 2 or 3 more times than she does with any other item, even with like mana items like Blue Buff and Shojin. I feel like Warmogs is just the way to go. It just adds so much tankiness to your front line. Because late into the game, Nico becomes pretty much your only front line. You know, the rest of it is just the Star Guardians getting smacked. So we cop another W there. The GA already paying off on my Nico. I'm starting to like streak a little bit. Things are looking a lot better than they were in the early game. My remaining Jarvan cops it. I decided that I'm not really going for it. I'm looking to phase him out late game anyway. Like I say, I'm not going for the full Protector variant. I'm going for what is arguably a greedier build. So I see this guy has copped the 6 Star Guardians, and a part of me froze up, and I was like, oh man, that's the end for me. But I realized he's running Poppy. And the thing about Poppy is that she's really kind of fallen out of favor in these Star Guardian comps. She just doesn't really bring much to the table. And then late game, when you have your 6 Star Guardians, you're going to be wanting to run everyone else. Like, it's going to be a Janna, Zoe, Ahri, Syndra, Nico, Soraka situation. Almost all of the time. Like, her utility is like pretty much reserved almost exclusively for the early game. So this guy gets his Jewel Gauntlet on his Yi, which is a very good Yi item. I'm getting a bit worried about my health. I'm kind of taking a bit of a beatdown, but I'm not too worried because my comp is starting to ramp up, and I notice the other Star Guardians player is on 12 health, looking like he's going to go out very soon, and I have it on good authority that the Yi player with the Quicksilver, Bloodthirster, Jewel Gauntlet is not going to last too long into the late game. So I'm pretty happy at this point. Victor rocks up in my shop. That gives me my 4 Sorcerer. I honestly had forgotten that I was running Fizz until he showed up. I messed up my positioning a little bit here. I really should have put Zinzao on the outside. I don't really know why I put the Victor there instead. It's not like I need to shelter my Zin, who is pretty much just a placeholder at this point. That's getting me 4 Protector and Celestial passive. Like, I'm happy for him to go straight away in combat. So there's another Blades player with another Jeweled Gauntlet Master Yi. This is the guy with the really early 3-star Shen. I'm pretty sure he just wipes the floor again. Like, there's not much I can do. I'm not quite as online as he is. He's been streaking for most of the games on 80, and you can see on the scoreboard there, he's been streaking for quite a while. He has a lot of displacement on his team. I think my Nico ends up, like, taking out the Riven, maybe? Oh, maybe not. No. It's close. But, you know, she put some work in. Taking another L is a little bit disappointing, but again, I clock now that the the other Star Guardians guy is out, which is very, very good news for me. And so I'm very happy to get an early carousel pick here. I go straight for the belt so I can get my Warmogs. I'm happy with that. I'm now I've pretty much got like all the items that I want. Everything else is just nice at this point. I get a Warmogs on my Nikos, and then I have a belt and a sword for Giant Slayer, or GA with sword and chain vest. Titans, I feel in Star Guardian comps just doesn't do too great. There's just not enough damage ticks, unfortunately. But it's still not bad. It's still an option that I have. I whack my Warmogs down. I'm pretty happy with how my team is looking. I realized my mistake and decide that it is time to go to 7. I was really behind this whole game, like really behind. I feel like generally speaking, it's very, very advisable to hit level 7 by 4-1. That's kind of the stage that you want to be at level 7, and then 8, ideally by 4-3, 4-5 late if if things aren't going well. You kind of want to build up your econ in like round 3. Again, this is probably all going to change though. I mean, Fates is coming. Fates is here on the PBE. Maybe we will see new leveling strategies, and all that information will be null. Galaxies is not long for this world, sadly. But yeah, so here you can see the power of like the Hex Tech. It just gives Syndra so much sustainability. If she didn't have that, she would be like half dead here. If I didn't have my Soraka in, she's getting absolutely bapped by the Echo, but she just comes back and heals so much that this really isn't a problem. Nico's tanky enough to just rain it down upon the remaining front line, and things are looking really good. Finally getting my 2-star Ari. I've been looking for that one for a while. Have a look through here. See the Zin. I can't remember if I pick it up. I feel like I leave it because I know in my heart that I will be deleting him as soon as I get some better stuff. Because there's these other guys running protectors as well. I think this was the other thing that kind of deterred me. This guy, Asmodian2 over here, playing the 6 protector comp, or going for... I'm almost certain he ends up getting it. He has the protector chestplate item. I was under the impression that he was going to go for the Piba comp, which is a really fun comp. I don't think I'll be able to get a video on that, because I find it super hard to play, but super fun comp. Maybe we can get a highlight on that one at some point. Again, there's only like a week left of TFT, so I don't know how many of these games we're going to get to play, but who knows. So this is the guy with the stacked Yi. Again, as I said, I kind of knew it would happen. He'll fall off late because Yi kind of needs his RFC, needs to stay back, and he just gets bapped by my Syndra, and he is out of there, so his streak is sadly over for him. I see more Zins, and I'm like, oh god, maybe I should pick these things up, but decide against it. I resist the urge. I feel like there's really not much point. I know it's going to go. So, it's not much of a problem. Let me see. So again, I think these Raptors end up being really good for me. Like these, I had great items this game. I feel like everything that happened in the game, like, you know, with how it played out, all just came down to me making like a few mistakes. Not really being on it. I'm getting a few Discord messages. I'm sorry if that's coming through on the mic there. Yeah, these Raptors ended up being really good. So yeah, I get another rod, which I'm very happy at. I can't pick this up because I've just got so much shit. My 2 forces of nature are eating up a lot of space in the Nikos as well, so I kind of have to think fast. I decided to go for an Ionic because I think, well, solid. You know, it's decent. Every other guide recommends it. I get a glove. I can't remember what I end up doing with the rest of this. I'm pretty sure I go RFC on someone because I feel like it's just a decent item. You know, especially when people are running Space Pirates. Lots of people are running Space Pirates because it's just fun and good. I know that I'm selling the Zin. I feel like I want my RFC on Janna, but don't have it at the moment. So I go ahead and build Shroud as well. Shroud is a great item. As we will see in this match, there are some crazy Shroud shenanigans. Also, the RFC actually allows my Zin to put in a little bit of extra work. He kind of starts like mashing up the front a little bit. This guy's Urgot though is super scary. My backline just kind of fizzles out, and the Jin really pulls a lot of damage as well. At this point, I was like, ah, man, it's a 6th. This is not gonna end well for me at all. But I decided that I need to go to 8 because I'm so behind. It's a now or never type situation. I'm losing my mind at how many Zins I've seen. I get honestly pretty lucky. Get my Janna really early into my rerolls there. Hit it with the RFC and whack the Shroud of Stillness on my Rakan. because I feel he's probably the most flexible unit here. Sell my Poppy because I don't need her anymore. Then Xin once again makes it back into my fucking comp. Because I'm like, well, I have the extra space now. I guess I don't need it. And I go ahead and make the Giant Slayer on Ahri. Or I think I couldn't do it for some reason in this match. It looks like I just keep missing her, but in my mind I was like, oh, I just can't do it. So I thought, fuck it. She doesn't need it. And then this is it. This is where Star Guardian starts to ramp up. When you get that Paragon 6-star Guardian with Janna in, the CC is insane. The auto-attack damage is no longer, like, you know, negligible. Before that point, it's just kind of piss. This is, like, the point that all of the L's have been leading up to. You can totally win streak into Star Guardians as well. I just suck. I decided that I'm probably not going to 3-star my Ahri, or at least it shouldn't be my main focus for now. I go ahead and make the Giant Slayer on Victor instead. I decide that that's probably better. In hindsight, probably would have been better on the Ahri. But, unsure. So I see Lulu here, and now Lulu is what I want to run in my comp, but I'm just confused as to what I'm going to sell and what I'm going to replace. I'm looking at my Nikos thinking, oh shit, dude, I don't know. Because this Jarvan and this Xin don't really have much of a place here. In an ideal world, I would swap them out with, I would swap Rakan with Lulu, and Jarvan with Urgot. And then I think I actually have like an additional space just for something else, so maybe I'd put in Xerath or something like that. I could maybe keep Jarvan in for Darkstar at that point, but it, you know, it's all choices. It's all choices, and that wasn't really the comp that I wanted to run. So I decided to lock it here. I'm thinking, all right, this Lulu's probably going to be pretty important. I think I messed up a bit here. Yeah, I see the Shojin, but my eyes just locked onto the Xerath with the Chalice, and I thought, Chalice good, Chalice going to give me power. But I was also thinking about the Fates variant of Chalice. So for those who don't know, Chalice has been changed in Fates. The spell power bonus that it gives you is now permanent for the entirety of combat, but in this one, it only lasts, it's either 20 or 30 seconds, I can't remember, and I actually forgot about that. So Chalice was definitely not the pick here, and based on how I want to, like, kind of turtle my units, I have to put this on my Victor, which means my Victor is technically getting, like, more bodies between him and the enemy, which is not what I want, because Syndra's one of those bodies, and she's the one that I need to protect. So I kind of work myself into a little bit of a corner here. A literal corner, actually, now that I look at it. I see that old Zabim, our Blade Master friend with the Yi, the Bloodthirsty Yi, goes up to 9, and I'm thinking, God, I'm on level 8 with 1 gold. My comp is nowhere near finished, and I'm weighing up like how I want to do this. I decide that 4 prot, not worth it. This gives me Celestial, it gives me Mystic. I should be okay. And then I end up against the other Yi player who gets arguably I'd say a better build. I think Rageblade is probably a little bit better. He has a double fizz, which just annihilates my backline, but not enough because this is where Syndra comes through. See, look at the healing; it's insane. She takes so much damage, but she deals out enough that she'll just heal it all back up. Gunblade really is the item for Syndra. I feel blue buff and stuff is important, but with Gunblade, you can carry with her really well. Usually you want Victor carry in this comp. I feel like the Victor carry is a little bit more reliable than Syndra. Syndra can go really wrong, especially, you know, if they run anti-heal, and let's be fair, most comps do just because it's good. And it completely just destroys certain traits, and without it you're kind of screwed. I'm like, well, maybe that's when Syndra isn't as good. But I know that the only real anti-heal threat at the moment is this guy with the Cogmore, 6 battlecast Cogmore. Or is that 8? I can't tell. I don't know, I didn't see the... Oh yeah, I think that is 8. I think he had the 2 battlecast spats. So that's the only concern, but luckily I have enough bodies to eat the brunt of the red buff for me, and Syndra's coming out on top, so the guy lives on 1. I was so scared. I really wanted to gain LP this match. I was like, I just want top 4, and the fact that he didn't go out really worried me. I was like, oh god. Now look at this goddamn Kayn. This is the most stacked 3-item Kayn for a Star Guardians comp ever. There is so much going on here. So in my mind, I was just trying to weigh up what should go where. Everyone got pretty decent ones. All of these items are kind of good. Like, this is really good for that guy. They all ended up being pretty decent for people. I feel like I did get a really good deal, though, on my Kayn here. So, I sit back, and await my delicious AP items. My e-girls will be very happy with this. So I pick up my rabbit. I'm just trying to think about what goes where. I think I end up deciding to put the Morellos on Victor, which I feel is probably the best choice. If not, it would have gone on Nico if she didn't have 3 slots completed. Then I'm kind of debating what I do with the Rabadons and a dual gauntlet. I was thinking, do I just put it on Janna, do I not? And then I figure, well, her damage isn't that great. She doesn't cast that much. She's there purely for the utility. I can put it on Ari, and she might be able to chunk a few people with her Wicked Orb abilities. And I think it ends up working out pretty well. So right now, I'll be honest, I'm panic rolling a little bit. I go for the Nikos on Lulu because I see the Victor in my shot to get her to 2 stars. And now this is when I see this monstrosity. This Urgot with the blue buff, Quicksilver, and Shroud ended up being a real pain in the ass. And by this point in the game, I was just kind of like trying to do everything I could to not, you know, to not go out in 5th. And so I wasn't really planning on a win. But miraculously, I do believe I get gunned down. Yeah, no, that's a shame. But I live it with 3. That's the miraculous part. I was like, oh, surely I don't lose this, because otherwise I'm out. But I barely just live it purely because it's a ghost, I think. I can't remember if ghosts do less, but I feel like after looking at that, they probably do. So I'm thinking, I'm looking at a 3rd here. Whatever. We take those. We absolutely take those from a game where I thought I was going to go out in 6th. Going up to 3rd is very, very nice. But, you know, we're not down and out yet. I decided that 3-starring Nico is probably not as possible as it might have been. I'm just looking for Syndras. Don't find them. I do find a Lulu, which does make me a little bit mad because I feel like I waste my Nikos a tad, but she is pricey after all, and there's no way I'm going to 3-star her. So I see that he's got his Shroud there. Even though I know I'm probably not going to fight him, I feel like it's worth doing because I did fight his Ghost, so it's entirely possible that I do end up fighting him. And lo and behold, I don't fight him. I end up fighting the Blades guy with the Yi, not the Bloodthirster Yi, the other Yi that is slightly better with the Mad Infiltrator stuff. But this time, my guys are more than strong enough to tank a few hits from Echo, and we send him packing right on down. Which again was another pleasant surprise. And at this point, it's just me and the guy with the stacked Urgot left, the Battle of the Tockers, which are our little legends there. And so I'm looking through. I decided I should buy this up to increase my chances of Syndra. I'm not going to claim that that played into it, but clearly I have my bias. So the other guy has like a mini Urgot. He's running like a little Battlecast version of this guy's Protector team. Honestly, the Zephyrs from this guy and the Shroud are what do me a number here. So I'm watching it, and I know that he's going to like put his thing on the other side to mess me up, but I just didn't have enough time to move it. And I thought, you know, he might be watching me, and I definitely messed up, but I feel like playing around the Shroud is so much harder. He has to move 1 unit. I have to move my entire squad. I guess I didn't really need to turtle as much at this point, but I kind of wanted to just for security. But yeah, it ends up being my downfall here, unfortunately. However, not just quite yet, because we actually come out on top of this one only just by some miracle. My entire Stargardian team gets shrouded, which normally spells doom. But we came out on top. So looking at what we got here, I know that Shojin has to be the pick this time. Lo and behold, the guy on 1 does me dirty, takes it, and I figure, well, Locket's not too bad. And honestly, I think this Shiv pick from him might have been what ended up winning him the game. I'm very excited to see how these matches play out, because I took the Locket, I had no choice but to kind of like, you know, put it on my backline. I go ahead and put it on my Zoe for the biggest shield. And, you know, I'm like, well, that's pretty good. And then I'm like kind of debating like how do I want my units to stack up? And I'm like, oh, let's do this. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really solve anything. And it was a bit of a mess. I basically had a bit of a positioning nightmare towards the end of this game. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So because of the way they changed Static Shiv, I don't know how much the bonus damage helped him, but the fact he had 2 of them and I had a huge shield on my backline probably didn't help very much. I mean, it just does help them mow through the shield, I suppose. It doesn't really help them do any extra damage. But once again, my Nico, she just becomes Urgot food for like the 19th time in this whole game. But she does come back swinging, and this guy with 1 health doesn't really pose much of a problem at all, mostly because his sought-after Battlecast units had been eaten up by this guy. And it's there. He was fighting the guy in third's ghost as well. So that proves that he would have also kicked his ass. At this point, I really don't know what I'm looking for. I try to increase my chances of getting the Syndra by buying as many 3 costs as I can. And rolling. And I'm like, oh, come on, please, man. I need it. I need it. And then sure enough, ask you shall receive. Now, I fucked up here. I should have swapped out my my Jarvan for the Urgot. I just didn't. I don't really know why. I think it's because I was panicking about the Shroud. I was trying to think about all this stuff. Again, I was amazed that I had been granted the chance to go on this long, really. I thought this match was going to be over a really, really, really long time ago. Surely enough, my entire team gets shrouded again. And kind of wrecks me a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot. Syndra, unfortunately, can't really do anything against the Urgot there. And that is the end of my run. It was a shame. It could have possibly been a first if I had properly positioned, but you know, that's a lesson. Still a pretty good run. But there was a reason why this game was very special to me, and it is because it is the game that took me up to Diamond. I was very sad that it couldn't have been a fat W, but we absolutely take those. Very, very happy with that, very chuffed with that. So yeah, that was it, guys. That was my Star Guardians game, my Syndra carry. I really hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to do more set 3.5 Galaxy stuff before it's gone. It really has been my favorite set. I also wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who watched my last TFT video. It's done really well. I appreciate it. If you could subscribe to me and chuck me a like, it would really mean a lot. I'd love to keep making these TFT videos for you guys if it is content that you guys enjoy, and I will be streaming more TFT on my Twitch channel as well, so please give that a look if you are interested. And I will see you all in the next one. Until then, take it easy.